Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're looking at some of the most unusual weapons we've ever shown off on Weapons Wednesday. But before we begin, if you could just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. So last week I showed you guys some of the newest weapons we recently added to the KarateMart.com website. And then I asked you to go to the community tab and vote for which one you like best. And this is the first time this has ever happened, but for some reason, as of right now, we have a tie on two of the weapons. So the two items that are tied are the legendary ninja sword and the railroad spike tracker knife. So I figured the best way for me to determine the tiebreaker would be for me to vote for which one I liked best of these two. And I clearly went with the railroad spike tracker knife. I actually really like this. We have a number of these types of knives on KarateMart.com that are made from an actual railroad spike, and this one is just awesome. So great choice, guys. But this week we decided to do something a little bit different. I had Amanda go back through a bunch of our old Weapons Wednesday videos and find the most unusual weapons that we've shown off in the last couple of years. So I asked Amanda to go back into the warehouse and grab some of those weapons for me to take a second look at. So at the end of this video, make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which one you like best. And as always, there's links in the description of the video for you to find out more information on each of these products. But without further ado, Amanda, what is our very first item?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome. This is gonna be so much fun today. Let's see what this guy is. Oh, great. All right, and our very first item is the brass tiger claws. I love these. I remember the very first time I reviewed them. So cool. You know, the thing I like the most about these is they kind of remind me of a weapon that was used in maybe a Chinese martial art, possibly in ninjutsu, but you can actually add these to many of your martial arts forms. So I really, really like these. First off, these are made from 100% brass. So these are like a really good quality weapon. I mean, look how intimidating this is. That is so awesome. Each of these claws is approximately 2 inches long. So that is a very good length for these claws. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. How do you actually wear these? Because they're kind of like knuckle dusters a little bit. So maybe you wear them like a knuckle duster, just a little bit higher and swipe with them. But the thing is, the palm grip is shaped a little bit differently. So these you actually have to wear like this, otherwise you're gonna end up hurting yourself. Now the holes on these have approximately a 1-inch diameter, which is absolutely perfect for my fingers. I have large hands and they fit me perfectly. I think they're gonna fit almost anyone. Now each claw weighs approximately 6.5 ounces, which is an excellent weight for these, and they actually are sold as a pair, so you get 2 of these. I mean, how cool is that? The width of these is approximately 4 inches, but one thing I want to mention is that it's very important that you check your local laws because the laws on this kind of thing are going to be very strict. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and put these away, and let's move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is the next unusual weapon you have for me?
There you go.
Oh, wow, a big one. Okay. Let's see what this guy is. I remember this. All right, and our next unusual weapon is the Tactical Walking Stick Warhammer. Awesome, awesome. I love this thing. I remember the thing I liked the most about it is it was sized perfectly for a big guy like me. I mean, it's meant to be a walking stick as well. So here, I'm just actually gonna come over here really quick so you can see this. But I mean, I'm pretty tall, I'm 6'4", and this works great as a walking stick for me. It's actually got this little rubberized tip on the bottom, so that's gonna give you a good secure hold while you're walking. But I mean, how cool is the idea that you could take this out in the woods to hike on a trail or something, and then if you needed a weapon, pull that out, and you got yourself an awesome weapon. So I love this. I think this is so cool, but let's just take a closer look at this. So first off, we can see that it has this massive head on here. This thing is made from a stainless steel with a black finish, and that is heavy. This actually weighs approximately 3 pounds, 2 ounces, but the majority of it is in the head of this weapon. So if you're gonna swing this thing, bam, you can get some really good momentum with it. So I love how heavy this head is. We can see that it's got this kind of pyramid design on the hammerhead itself. So there's like this pyramid in the center and then all these spikes on the outside. So, I mean, I'm barely tapping my hand and that is actually really hurting. So imagine the damage you could cause with this thing. That is so cool. And then we got this kind of curved spike at the end. And the spike's not sharp, but I mean, you could pierce some majorly heavy duty materials with that spike. So I love that. Now the handle is made from that fiberglass reinforced nylon that I love so much. I mean, we've tested it in previous videos and this stuff holds up so well. And what's cool too is we've got this kind of ergonomic grip towards the top, which gives us really good control if we wanted to hold it there. Or there's these grip lines down here and down here that allow us to get excellent control if we want to get some good momentum with this. So you could just swing, bash. I mean, what a beautiful weapon to have. I absolutely love this. Now the overall length of this is approximately 37 inches long, which is perfect as a walking stick and as a weapon. So there is really nothing I dislike about this Warhammer. But I'm gonna go ahead and put this away and let's move on to our next weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon?
There you go.
Thank you. All right, let's see what this is. This one's a little heavier. I'm so curious which ones you grab for me. Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, and our next unusual weapon is the Interchangeable Spike Aluminum Tonfa. I love these. In fact, we designed these about 5 years ago, and they are handmade in America by the company Combative. So we can see that these are made from a thick wall, high strength aluminum that's actually been tapered down to the spikes on the Tonfa. Now these are made from a thick walled hollow aluminum, which allows them to be a lot lighter than they would be if they were a solid aluminum. But let's just take a look at this one here. So on this one, we can see that the caps are actually made from a solid aluminum, and then the handle is made from solid aluminum as well. But if we take a look at this one, the spikes are made from a solid steel. And we did that because we knew that you'd be striking things with those steel tips, and we knew that steel would be so much more durable than aluminum. So let's actually test that out a little bit. I'm gonna strike this wing chun dummy really hard just to show you that that tip is not gonna get damaged at all. So, I mean, look at that. I just put some major holes in that wing chun dummy, and that tip is still in perfect condition. So I love the fact that we use steel for those spikes on there. Now these come with an additional pouch that includes the extra tips. So if we look in there, we can see that we've got the extra spikes and the extra caps. So if we do decide to change out these tips, all we have to do is unscrew the spike and then screw in the cap. And look at that. That was so easy to just swap out that spike into a standard Tonfa end. So I think these things are so awesome. Now, the overall length of them is approximately 20 inches when you have the Tonfa caps on. And then when there's spikes on the ends, they're approximately 22 inches long. They weigh approximately 1 pound, 12.5 ounces when they're just standard Tonfa, and then they weigh approximately 2 pounds, 4 ounces when they have the spikes on the end. So these are just slightly heavier than a standard Tonfa. Now, these are actually sold in a pair, so you're not just gonna get one nightstick, you're actually getting 2 Tonfa, so you can do all of your martial arts techniques with these. I think these are so awesome, but that's about all I have to say about that, so let's go ahead and put these away and move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon?
There you go.
All right, let's see what this is. This is so much more fun than a lot of these Weapons Wednesdays because I get to see a lot of weapons that I used to love and I haven't seen in a while, so this is really fun. Oh, wow. Okay, I remember this guy. This is so long ago. All right, our next weapon is the Spiked Combat Club. Do you guys remember this? This thing is so cool. This is actually made from solid polypropylene, which the great thing about that is it's going to be stronger than a wooden club, and it's actually going to be water resistant. So this thing is going to hold up to a lot of abuse. In fact, let's just test it out on the Wing Chun dummy real quick. I mean, and the thing is, had I been hitting that Wing Chun dummy with a wooden club, I would have all sorts of little nicks and divots in the wood. So this is going to hold up just beautifully. And look at this. We've got spikes all along the head, and then we've got these little pyramid guys all down the shaft of the club. So no matter where you hit this thing, it's going to hurt. I mean, even the head, there's spikes on the top of the head of this thing, so if we decided to just strike like that, oh geez, that's going to do some major damage as well. But check out this spike on the pommel of this thing. I mean, that's supposed to be a glass breaker, but I like the idea of being able to use that for hammer strikes, or if you're striking and you need a follow-through weapon, that would work perfectly. So I absolutely love that. We can also see that there's a lanyard on here, so we have a wrist strap, so we're not going to lose our weapon, so I love that. And then the grip on this thing is really comfortable. I mean, when you're striking this thing, you'd expect to have a lot of shock going through your hand, but I'm not feeling that. I actually think this is just a wonderfully well thought out weapon. Now the overall length of this thing is approximately 20 inches long, and it weighs approximately 1 pound 9 ounces, but I'll tell you what, the majority of that weight is in the head of this weapon, so that is going to give you some excellent momentum on your swings. So I absolutely love this thing, but I don't think there's anything else to really say about it. So let's go ahead and put this away and move on to our next unusual weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our next unusual weapon?
There you go.
Awesome, awesome. All right, let's see what this is. Oh, okay. We did this like 3 weeks ago, so I do apologize to you guys for already seeing it, but you know what? Let's actually test it out a little bit this time. So our next weapon is the Military Trench Cleaver. Awesome, awesome. You guys actually voted for this as your favorite weapon, so I'm kind of glad we're bringing it back a little bit. So first off, we can see that it has this really nice heavy-duty black leather sheath, and then there's a belt loop on there so we could hang it from the side of your body if you wanted to. But I want to see the blade itself, so let's just open this up and check that out. I mean, look at that. That is the most intimidating looking blade I think I've ever seen. Can you imagine actually having this in your kitchen at home, like hanging with the rest of your cooking utensils? I love that idea. In fact, we also were selling a pizza axe that would be great sitting in your kitchen as well. So I don't know, I think it'd be so fun to have people over and just have them see these strange weapons sitting in your kitchen. So if you have a chef in your life, definitely consider this as a gift for them. Very cool. So first off, let's look at the handle on this thing. We can see that it's made from a solid brass, and then it's got this US 1918 stamped into it. So if you watched my previous video, you know that that US 1918 actually signifies that this is inspired by the Mark I trench knife from World War I. So that is pretty cool. So if you're one of those people who like to have weapons with a little history behind them, this might be the weapon for you. Now the blade itself is made from a very thick stainless steel. I mean, that is so thick that this thing is heavy. It actually weighs about 2 pounds 6 ounces. And then we can see that it's got these little holes up here, which give it a nice aesthetic look, but also that would allow you to hang this up in your kitchen next to your other kitchen utensils. Now, we can also see that it's got this really intimidating spike on the bottom of the pommel. So I think we can use that for hammer strikes. Oh yeah, geez. That put a big hole in there. But the interesting thing about this is I don't know what the tang is on this blade. In fact, we asked the manufacturer and the manufacturer was unable to give us any information on the tang of this blade. So I'm going to assume that the blade goes all the way through the handle and is threaded into this little spike here. But I really want to test this out because I want to make sure that this is actually securely in the handle. It feels very secure, but let's chop some stuff just to see how secure this actually is. So let's make a mess of this Wing Chun dummy real quick. I mean, that thing is in really far. The blade's not wobbly at all. I mean, jeez. I love this thing. I think this is so cool. And yeah, that's not wiggly at all. That blade is in there extremely secure, so I'm sure it's full tang going all the way into this spike. So that is pretty neat. Now, the overall length of this is approximately 15 inches. The blade length is approximately 9.5 inches. And one thing I just want to mention is this is a trench knife. So there are some very strict laws when it comes to trench knives, so make sure you check your local laws before even considering buying a weapon like this. But that's about all I have to say about this, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and let's move on to our next weapon. All right, Amanda, what is our last unusual weapon you have for me today?
There you go.
Thank you. All right, let's see what this is. Oh, I remember this guy. All right, and our last weapon is the Gunstock War Club. Awesome, awesome. I love this thing. Now, the history behind these Gunstock War Clubs is just a little bit murky, so it was tough to find out any information on it. But from what we were able to gather, these are actually designed after the stock of a musket or a rifle and were used by indigenous people in North America. So I think if you're a history nut, this would be something that would be perfect to just sit on your coffee table at home to just be kind of a conversation starter. So what a cool weapon this is, but let's take a closer look at this. So first off, we can see that it's got this really nice leather sheath to it, and it's got a belt loop on it, so we could actually hang it from the side of our body if we wanted to. But let's just take off the sheath and see what this looks like. That is awesome. So first off, we can see that the stock of this is made from a very nice polished wood that actually has these little studs hammered into it. So that gives it a really nice rustic look. And then we can see that the spear point on here is actually made from Damascus steel. So I just think that's one of those little additions that just makes this look like such a nice weapon. And we can see that it's got these little leather straps with these acrylic beads kind of going through the head of the weapon and also through the handle of the weapon, which gives it more of like an authentic look. But honestly, I'd probably remove these straps down here and just hook a wrist strap to it, just to give my weapon a little more security if it ever had to be used. The total length of this is approximately 16 inches, and the spear point length is approximately 3 inches, and it weighs about 1 pound. I absolutely love this thing. I think it is such a unique and unusual weapon, but I'm curious what you guys think. So make sure you guys go to the community tab and vote for which weapon you like best this week. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out KarateMart.com because we've got all sorts of really cool and unusual weapons on there right now. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday. So strangely enough, I have this pineapple down here that I'm just gonna pull out so we can try chopping that really quick. So I'm just gonna go ahead and chop it like this and just see how sharp this blade is.